That's right. That's right. That's right. Back at you again with another one. We got so much more coming. Like I told you guys, we big on the health and fitness vibe. You guys know I'm big on the media, and I want to bring something positive. From talk online, it got to be something constructive. It got to be something building, something that matters. And the health and fitness topic just is one of the biggest and most important things we can all be locking into. So I appreciate you pulling up and sharing some of your time with me. And I got a special guest. We're going to talk about if we're going to talk about fitness, we obviously have to talk about the nutrition element, and we got these different sort of diet approaches and ongoing discussion of what's the best way to eat. We got diet wars going on. We got conflict. We got drama. We got all kind of what am I supposed to eat? We got obesity numbers going up. We got we go get into a few things. Let me introduce my guest. I got a guy that I met on Instagram posting about the carnivore diet. So we're going to talk about is carnivore hot in 2026 because we got first of all, we're going to talk about what that is. And, there's different things going on with these diet approaches, but specifically this carnivore diet thing has been fascinating for me for the past couple of years as I've kind of played around with it and had some benefits. And I just want to bring some other people in and get some insights. And it's going to be an ongoing discussion. Again, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Let me bring in my guest, musically fit. Musically fit. We got my guy in the building. What's
How
good?
you doing?
I'm good, man. All right,
Definitely a pleasure, bro. Glad to be on with you.
let me make a little adjustment here. Swap that out. Okay, I think we're good there. All
Yeah.
right, so I've been checking you out on Instagram for many, many months now. You're posting about carnivore diet, but you got some other dynamics. Musician or vocalist, singer. So there's that.
hmm
Heavily into fitness, martial arts. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 And let us know. Let me just get straight into it like this. Actually, let's have you introduce yourself briefly, and then we're gonna get into this whole carnivore thing.
Okay. Thank you for having me on. First of all, I want to say I appreciate you even taking out the time. But my name is Marcus. I'm mostly known as Musically Fit. And basically, I came online just to kind of help even educate people and kind of show different things that I've done in my lifestyle, um, from music on to fitness, on to even health. And it's just been my passion really to just kind of show people that there's another way, a better way, and just kind of living my life because I think the best way to even show people is to live it out. And some people just try to be hard, but if you could just show your life, I think that's the best way for people to kind of learn from you. So that's kind of what I try to do. So that's kind of just like a small, thing about me.
Show them better than you can tell them.
Yes, sir.
All right, so and let's do this too, because this is always a big factor to me. We talked about this offline, but let the folks know your age because I talk about age a lot because there's this whole thing of people thinking as you get older, it's just acceptable that the fall off is inevitable and
hmm
acceptable, and I refuse to accept that. I'm coming up on
Bro, it's so true.
I'll be 48 in a couple of months, so I haven't got some years on you. But let the folks know how old you are and kind of your thoughts on the whole aging versus it's okay to
Okay.
be
So I'm
unhealthy
actually
and unfit.
34. And a lot of people uh, will say, "Oh, you look young" or whatever. But I feel like, truthfully, when it comes to the youth, it's all about you using your body the way it's designed to be used. Our bodies are supposed to move. You're supposed to be capable, and some people just forget that things that are basic human motion, you should be capable of, and that's a part of just having a life that you can really enjoy. So, like, for having longevity, in my opinion, you got to move. If you want people to be questioning, oh, how old are you? What you doing differently? You have to utilize your body because it's yours. You only get one. That's what I've really been on for the past few months. That you only get one. It's yours, and you got to take control of it. So, age doesn't have to limit you, and you could be at a place in your life to where people are questioning what it is that you're doing, how old you are, even because of how you choose to take care of yourself. So yeah,
And my bad, I talked over you a little bit, but tell them your age again.
34.
34, man. If I had 34, if I had them years back knowing what I know now, whoa.
Bro, I hear you.
But that's what's up though. I mean, where you at right now? Obviously, your fitness level at your age. What do you think? Like for what you see,
Bro, don't. All right.
you see where I'm going
There's
with
a
that
there's a
already.
can of worms that you're asking to be released if you're gonna ask that question. But
Go
truthfully,
ahead. Go
I'll try
ahead.
to be good. But um being real with you, my younger brother, he's 26, right? And he's my only brother that actually has taken fitness seriously. And so he'll ask me sometimes, bro, oh, do you have friends that work out, stuff like that? I said, bro, truthfully, there's not many peers that I have that really even have the discipline to be like, okay, oh, I got this going on, I got that going on, I got this, whatever, my job, my relationship, my children, and they don't understand it having something that it should be a non-negotiable. So like, for example, we talked about earlier offline, I kind of have like some martial arts background that kind of helped, I could dare to say, build some of the disciplines to even have that mental, to where it's like, it has to be a non-negotiable. It has to be something that's important to you, and it has to be something that you have to think about the level of value. Is it going to increase the value of my life? Is it going to increase the quality of it? And knowing that you only get one body, I really can't get off of that. I've really been kind of on that stick in the last few months. You get one body, one chance, one shot. And why not it be the best shape it could be in, the healthiest it could be in, the most capable it could be, for the and not being afraid to get to a certain level that you thought that you couldn't get to. Because I think that us men, sometimes we struggle with, trying to have this certain athletic potential, whatever, but going to where you could get it's possible for you. Maybe you're not going to get a contract, or you're going to become get discovered in some kind of way, but it's good for you to be able to get to your potential, or try to get to your physical health the best that you can, and try to make the time. So I don't really see it, bro. Truthfully, I don't have, in peer group I'm in, it's very rare. I have a lot of friends now that are even fathers. Oh, bro, I can't. I'm like, bro, it's a lot of things that you are definitely, it's that you're definitely missing out on, that you'd be surprised how it can enhance your life and whatever you think you're in right now. So yeah, it's interesting out there, bro. It's a mess out there.
Can of worms, can of worms. Okay, so I was hoping you was gonna say, nah, most of the people I know in my circle. I was gonna ask you about your circle within your broader view. So you kind of just told it all in one swoop. Because yeah, the way I'm
Yeah,
seeing it, the vast majority of people, I mean, bro, I'm coming up on 48, so I'm pushing more towards 50. So you already know what it is. So I like to ask younger guys. So if you in the mid 30s range, and to hear you say that, it's very disheartening. And I think that's all the more
yeah,
reason
bro.
why we need to talk about this more. And I understand, like, there should be more people watching this stream or just tapping in with the nutrition fitness
Yeah,
thing. It's the hottest thing smoking. You only get one of these things. I'll talk about this, like a suit you wake up in every day. You pilot this thing. You need this thing fresh and clean and moving and functioning properly. I know people
right.
that put way more focus on their automobile, their vehicle, than
Yeah,
their actual body they are piloting every day, which is just
right.
wild business to me.
The automobile that pilots the brain, that carries the brain around. Like, you
Your
seriously, yeah,
whole existence, and move it or lose it, or let it fall apart and be in pain and agony for decades to come,
yeah.
and not
Or
getting
let
that
some
together.
disease take you out that you couldn't control because your body just didn't even have what it needed to hold it up. Hmm.
And then I'm gathering, based on what you said, you are not a father.
No, I am.
Oh, you are. Okay, okay. So even better than, because I'm not. So I kind of got to tread lightly around it, because be like, you don't know what it's like because you don't have kids, so the responsibilities. And I'm like, true, but I think that's all the more reason. If you're a father, you're a parent, man or woman, that's all the more reason fitness game needs to be on point, because you're a role model and you want to
Bro,
be
and
around, you want to be
one of the
functional.
things for me, bro, seriously, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Um, Truthfully though, one of the big things for me was, you should, as a man, be the first superhero your child sees. And if you're not, you know, uh, I mean, not that they shouldn't have any other role models, have anybody to look up to, but you have to be conscious, or as the old folks used to say back in the day, conscientious of what they're really viewing. And when they're seeing you, that's what they're seeing. So that it just kind of, some of those things kind of really stuck with me once I, started to see it from a different viewpoint. Once I saw it for real, I was like, okay, that's what you want to be. You want to be the first Superman that they see, not when they open up a comic book or anything like that. And not to say that I grew up with a fit dad, because that's not really common, truthfully, to see. It's not what's hot. You're saying dad bod. That's the hot thing.
Dad bod. See, that's where I got to tread lightly. Dad bod.
Bro, you know it.
Are dad bods the hot thing we're going to talk about? Is Carnivore hot in 2026? Are dad bods hot in 2026? Have they ever been? Is it, should it be acceptable? Like, do we ban dad bods? Should we try to, or do we accept that and we take it? People hit the 40 mark
Yeah.
and just, it's over the hill.
Excuse me.
You are a father, 30, mid 30s. Apparently, you're not going that direction. You have the unfair. Well, you already was into martial arts, so I don't know. What do you think about excuses and?
I'll be real with you with that. Truthfully, I've seen a lot of people that over the years they have it, and I would say that it also parallels in the people that have been in the military, people that's martial artists or been in the military. I used to do that. I know what it's like. I used to be tight, strong, tough, and I think that people don't know what it takes to really maintain a discipline. It takes, it's one thing to have had it, and it's a whole other thing to maintain it, because people will look at you and think like, oh, you got good genes, or you had a background or whatever. And it's not easy, bro. It's not easy. There's days that you don't want to go in there. There's days that you're not feeling it, but the reward, the carryover, the reward outweighs the days that I'm not, I just don't feel it. I don't want it. The reward outweighs it. So it's just like, that's kind of the mentality that I try to make sure that I have, or I try to exude to other people, that the reward has to outweigh the laziness, even when you're, it has to outweigh it. And I'll say this last thing, like, for example, I don't know how much TV you watch, but I watch some TV sometimes, and I see these Nugenics commercials. Get yours right now. Call the commercial and, get your number, get this little TRT or get this little supplement, and she'll like it too. You don't even care about, having your discipline for even, and it's benefiting everybody else. It's not just benefiting you, and having a bigger perspective about it. So you don't have to call Nugenics and dial the number. You can actually, have some control over, even how you look, even as a man. And I think that's something that is lost today.
It just has to be a foundational thing. I mean, man, woman, I speak from the perspective of being a man, obviously, but man or woman, you gotta treat this body thing right. It has to be a priority. All
Yeah.
excuses aside, all shortcuts aside. And for a man, the way I see it, you gotta be that guy. You gotta be that leader. You gotta be that role model. And there's times where I was down bad, fell off. Around the time I was your age, I was bouncing back from being way overweight. And my heaviest, I got up to around 270, 265,
Wow,
270. At 6'2", though, so just to give some context, but still way too big, unhealthy. If I show you my old school fat boy pictures, you'll be like, ugh, neck was all fat, face all fat. And I say that like when people say, well, you already had the good genetics, you already blah, blah, blah. It's like, nah, I bounced back from holding a big L. So I'm a living example of somebody when, you put the work in, you put the discipline in, you can get it right, and you got to get it right. And I've had back issues and surgeries and all kind of different stuff, issues based on poor diet, poor nutrition, not working out like I should have been. And I've bounced back from that and really made that be a lifestyle thing. AM1 lifestyle, AM1 media, like really making my life, that's just a key factor in it. You know what I mean? Just like I breathe, I got to move, I got to do some resistance because I understand what that is.
Yeah.
And something I always say in my streams, and also coach people on weight loss as well. I'm a certified personal trainer and weight loss coach. When we talk about weight loss, it's really obviously body recomposition. You just got to slip that in there. Of course, I know you know. But where I'm at with it, my knowledge base on it, I always say the phrase, it's the hardest, easiest thing, because technically it's super easy. Now, it is hard to get that momentum going, but once you do, and the more you dial it in as a lifestyle, it becomes obvious. It's easy. It's like, how can I not be rocking with this and stay consistent? You're not always going to be perfect, but ultimately it gets easier and easier the more you understand, oh, they're setting us up for failure with shady food. We have all kind of booby traps and distractions to keep us off base on keeping ourselves healthy, but technically it's super easy. What do you think about that? Like when you dial it in, it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah, bro. Some people say it like this. It isn't easy, but it isn't complicated. Literally, it's one of those things that it's about you literally just making choices. Like, I think that what ends up happening is when people don't choose to acknowledge that there are certain things that are even in certain foods that have addictive qualities. Once you have it, you really got to say, okay, I have to make this choice today. I'm either going to eat something that's going to help benefit my body, give me the things it needs, or I'm going to eat something for pleasure. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't sometimes have things for pleasure. I'm not saying that you shouldn't enjoy certain things sometimes. But that needs to be the question I think that people should ask, just to even say dialed in with it. But it is easy, but it's something that, and sometimes they say the easiest things to do things, but it's just like it is one of those things that you literally have to make the choice when you're in the grocery store, when you need a little snack or whatever. Is this thing I'm putting in my body going to benefit me, or am I eating it for pleasure? And I think that's what makes it, it isn't easy, but it isn't complicated, where it's kind of like that thing that you just got to dial in. But once you get it, like you're saying, it can be easy, but you have to have the discipline to make that choice. Every time you're faced with a fast food option, you're at a restaurant, you're at a family party, and not even having to feel, uh, uh, and I'm sure we'll talk about that more, like you're an outcast or ridiculed because you're making choices for your health
Mm.
when you're at certain events or restaurants, whatever.
Wow. Okay, so that's an interesting point, and that this segues perfectly. Choices, and then there's the community, family, whatever element to it. How you make the choices yourself versus how you interact with other people, and how that empowers itself or doesn't. Right. That's a dope
Right.
discussion, and that segues perfectly into this choice. So when you talk about choices, we talk about nutrition. You can't outwork a bad diet. What do you think about? We got you as the guest on the show, but the star of the show today is this discussion about this particular dietary approach that's been going crazy. It's been up and running for over a decade now, but in the past few years, this carnivore diet craze, carnivore, carnivore, carnivore. Like, what
Hmm.
is going on with this? People losing their minds over carnivore. Oh my God, that's crazy. I went through changes with it myself. Beneficial changes, but this ain't about me. I want to talk about your thoughts on this whole carnivore diet situation. What do you think about that, sir?
Well, truthfully, I think that is really interesting that it's even something that is coming out right now. At a time when veganism, vegetarianism, low fat, no fat, less calories things kind of took a rise and kind of took a big like uh, cover over everything. I think that it's something that's a good thing, truthfully, because if some people would take the time, because some people, like we were talking about earlier, discipline, don't even have the discipline to do the research, would take the time and even study. Um, in some of the studies, carnivore diet has been around, or the term actually has been around for over 200 years, and a lot of people don't even know like biology and how we evolved as humans. So, like, I went through an evolutionary process to even get to the point of understanding about the carnivore diet, because I was struggled, Terry, with being vegan, vegetarian. I went through that whole thing. But I think that it's really valuable that it's coming out now, because just for even how we as humans are supposed to be, what we're supposed to do, how our bodies are supposed to perform. And I'm just trying to make sure I stay as concise as possible. Like, literally being simply thinking like we're made of meat. Why wouldn't our bodies need more to even continue to operate? What? How do we evolve as humans, and not as in like a Darwinism perspective, but how do we evolve as a human being to even be able to have our intellect, the things that we're able to do? What were the things that we were eating that caused our body to develop? So I think that it's important that this information is coming out now. Um, a lot of people get misinformation, so it's kind of like when you're learning about it, it's kind of about who you end up starting to hear about first, what your introduction is, what's the first person or the first person that introduced you to it. That can kind of determine your journey, because it does sound like something crazy. Carnivore diet, eating meat or eating primarily animal foods. It can sound crazy to people, and depending on how they were introduced or who was it that they heard it from first. But I think it's a great thing that it's actually coming out now. Um, I just think for a lot of people that are watching and different people that get into it, how you're introduced to it can determine what you're how you're gonna the path you'll end up on. And I think that you should be willing to hear another opinion and hear more and more as you're learning about it.
That's what was definitely the case for me. Like really keeping an open mind about it. Again, but people know here, and I was telling you earlier, I'm primarily a videographer. That's what I do by trade. It's my main job, right? So there's a certain journalism aspect that I, use for that. Keeping an open mind, getting information from all sides of a story, and be able to tell a story. In this case, it was my personal story. Uh, as I want to be more healthy, more fit. What is good or the best, the most optimal dietary approach? Let me try something. Am I missing out on something? Are there any blind spots? Am I being too dogmatic about a particular approach because I believe something versus is this actually the best? So coming into this whole, knowledge of this whole carnivore diet thing, like it was a knee jerk reaction for me at first as well, because I came from, again, the kind of plant based, vegetarian, whatever kind of
Hmm.
space as well. And it worked well for me. But then going into my mid 40s, hit some snags and was like, something ain't right. Deficiencies, maybe, blah, blah, blah. Let me try something different. And had some really good experiences and benefits trying out this whole carnivore approach myself. Let the folks know, when did you first hear about this and when did you first sort of adopt this dietary approach?
So I first heard about the carnivore diet probably it probably was like, I'm trying to think about the exact year, but it probably was 2020 2022 is when I really started to hear about it for real. The first person that I got introduced to um, from the carnivore diet was Paul Saladino. That was the first person that I heard about. And I had saw the a video about his interview that he had on the doctors, and basically he had brought some clients on that he was saying that he had reversed all of their autoimmune diseases, all of their issues through the carnivore diet. The doctors ate him alive, wouldn't let him get a word edge in wise. And at that point, being, over the years of slight maybe conspiracy theorists, that maybe.
Oh, okay. So now I need to know, is that the it is what it is, live streams? This is what happens, y'all. I need to know, is this happening for the whole stream or is that just on his end? Somebody let me know in the chat if it's glitching for both of us or just he dropped off. The way it looks to me is just that he dropped off. Let's see. Okay, so I think it is just coming from his I think it's just on his end. Yeah, I think he just dropped out. We'll have him come back in. You are clean. It's just him. Okay. Okay. I appreciate that. And when he comes back in, obviously we will bring him back in. But yeah, super interesting discussion, right? And I try to keep an open mind about this stuff. And even within these sort of, oh, here he goes.
Sorry,
All
we
right.
had a little. Somebody was trying to call me. I'm so sorry. I
Oh,
apologize
no,
about
no, it's
that.
all good. That's the nature of live streams. It is what it is. Everybody in here
Can you
knows
hear me
what it
good?
is. Yep, yep. You're still good. Everything's perfect. So you went into Paul Saladino on the doctors or some
Right.
show, and that was cutting him off. Go ahead.
So Paul Saladino, I saw him on the doctors, and the doctors ate him alive, wouldn't let him get a word in edgewise. And like I was saying, being some sort of a conspiracy theorist at the time, that immediately was that rose an eyebrow to me. And I'm like, they didn't even let his clients speak. And they were like, how dare you tell people not to eat vegetables? How dare you? You're a blasphemer. And he was trying to, fight his case, and they wouldn't let him speak. And so I was intrigued at that point. And so I started to do more research. And then at that point, when I had started following him, he wasn't, as big as he is now. But I had started following him at the time, and I was started to really listen. I was like, okay, something's making certain things are making sense, certain things are adding up. I'm listening. And so I was just really kind of like really studying his material. And then that was really my first introduction. And then I started to find people like Steak and Butter Girl and different individuals. And I was just able to get a lot of information.
Not sure if he got a call, but it just dropped out again. Oh, I see. No country. I appreciate that. It's probably going to keep do the same thing again, but yeah. All right, we got our guest musically fit. Some technical difficulties, but again, that is the nature of live streaming. Bride's Biscuit says no other species on this planet needs variety. We've all adapted under evolutionary biology to a species appropriate diet with little variation. Variety is used in messaging to justify addiction. Very interesting point there. And I've thought about that a lot. I've heard arguments that make a lot of sense. I've heard arguments that make sense in both directions. And there's still the whole thing of some people saying, well, depending on who you ask, we evolved eating mostly plants, we evolved eating mostly meat. I've, again, heard different sides of this argument just to address that comment. And again, it's not about me more so than it's about our guest here. But, I've talked about this in other videos or other streams. My position on that, I won't get into it. We're just gonna focus on my guest here. We got musically fit back in the building. Oh, you're trying to rotate it and make it come in. Let me see. Well, now the audio, I can't hear you. The Liver King scandal hurt the image of Carnivore Diet. Interesting, interesting. Anybody else in the chat know about Liver King? Let us know what you think about that. Musically fit. We don't have audio. Maybe it lost connection. You might need to drop out and come back in. Can you hear me? You can hear me? Try dropping out and coming back in. I think it needs to like reconnect. The vegan and plant-based diet community is trying to hit on his stream, so we having some conflict. Okay, so this is an interesting point right here. This is some of the variables and nuances that I've gotten into myself.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yep, you back.
All right, cool.
So even with that,
I'm finally good now. I'm so sorry. I should put my phone on do not disturb. I didn't think I was gonna get a call at all. So
I kept kicking you out. Or your calls kept kicking you out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know that happens on the phone. Variation might be indicated to mitigate disease. Plants are medicine after all. Do your own N of one experiment to find what works for you. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. That bit of nuance there, because obviously we know there's certain benefits. The compounds in some plant foods have obvious benefits that are objectively provable, but should that be a major core element of a human diet? That's an interesting point. Very interesting. Let's do this.
It's not letting me landscape.
That's fine. You could go back to.
Huh?
You could go back the other way. If it won't automatically rotate, yeah, that's fine.
All right, cool.
We can work it all out there.
There we go.
With that view right there.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, the audio's good.
All right, cool.
Okay, so you saw how they kind of jumped on him meaning Paul Saladino, when he was on the show. And if anything, it kind of more apparently had the effect of making you want to look into it more, since they were so against.
Right. I was just like, why won't y'all let him get a word in? Like y'all, they attacked him. They were like blitz him, like, no, how dare you? And he was just like, I'm trying to and his clients, they were, and they were just embarrassed for him, because they were like, we're so sorry. Like, they couldn't even tell their testimony, and they were on video call on the show watching this happen to them. So then I was just like, okay, let me look into it more. So that was the first person that I was introduced to by it.
And this is like 2022, you said?
Right.
Around there. Okay. And now we're here in 26, and we got different influencers, different people that have looked into this more. We got some more studies and whatnot, data to pull from. I'm just saying that as a fast forward for some of the people listening in the chat and who listen later. Let us know. So what at what point did you decide that you would adopt this strategy, or what sort of inspired that you taking it on yourself?
So at the time, I was working overnight, and so I knew that that just naturally was going to get me out of my circadian rhythm, as they call it. It was unnatural to be in a situation where you were not sleeping at night. So I was like, what can I do to really maximize making sure that I'm still healthy and I'm not making my body deteriorate because I'm literally draining myself. I'm sleeping in the daytime. I'm throwing myself all the way off when I'm supposed to be having a certain clock that happens. When it's light, I'm supposed to be able to wake up, all of that. So I'm like, what can I do? And so that's when I had, it was probably like the end of 2022 is when I really started to really do it. So um, I tried a lot of different things because I was growing up. My parents would always say that I was that type of person that was willing to experiment with certain stuff. So I tried different things, um, and and basically where I am now, I got to the point where I got to a place where I can work it to where I don't have to be extreme about or trying to let me try this, let me try that, to where it's now a discipline where I can maintain. You know what I'm saying? In that level.
So you would try different things. I think earlier you said you did sort of a plant-based or vegetarian approach before at some point.
Mhm.
So what was the transition like going into, okay, I'm gonna eat meat? How did you start with that? More meat, I'm sure, assuming at some point you maybe didn't eat meat, at some point you did. What point did you start adding in more animal-based animal foods? Was it gradual? Was it kind of a, cold
Well,
turkey,
I'll say that truthfully, it was like a thing of trying to make sure that I was staying healthy and maintaining health. So like I never really truly evolved fully into vegan or vegetarian, but it was a thing of going to Sprouts, going to Whole Foods, making sure, oh, let me make sure I have something that's plant based or something, thinking that it's enhancing health. Let me get some super green foods or some spirulina or whatever. So those were things that I would try to have. I would try to have certain herbs and certain things. So kind of how it came, it was like, okay, there's certain things that I'm hearing that if I have any hold of my mind, I can't deny that could be something that could be true if I'm looking at all the things. So the first thing when it came to like animal foods, I kind of went ahead first. So I jumped in, I started eating raw liver, eating, ground beef, cooking ground beef, started uh eating eggs all the time and stuff like that as much as possible. Switching the butter, and I just kind of jumped in head first with it. There were still some things that snacks and stuff that I wanted to have, and still certain things that I had to wean myself off of per se, if I use that terminology. But I kind of jumped in head first. Once I started to get the knowledge and realized even that so many of the benefits, and knowing that a lot of the stuff that even that I thought were superfoods was extremely nasty, had a horrible taste, but I was trying to do it for the benefit of health. I said, let me see what this is like, give it a try. And I kind of jumped in head first in a nutshell with it.
let's do this. So jumping into it that way, after a bit of time, because obviously I'm sure you had heard about some of the benefits, some of the more anecdotal things that people were experiencing from this, benefits wise, right? And that's personal to that person. But
Right.
what kind of benefits did you start to see for yourself?
Truthfully, one of the biggest benefits in being in the fitness was the recovery time. So recovery time, recovering faster. Also, when it comes to rest, I feel like when I was starting to be on the carnivore diet, I've never had more efficient rest. I've never had more efficient rest than I've ever had. Even in like if I have a shorter time span, I could feel more rested. So that's been a big thing for me. Also, a lot of the big benefits for me are just the feeling, how you feel. It's kind of hard to describe, especially when it comes to like knowing all the problems people have with libido, problems people have with even their testosterone level. Knowing that you feel good and you feel capable, you're knowing that everything's working. That's really big for me, and that's been one of the biggest things for me being on the carnivore diet. Really knowing that my body's operated the way it's supposed to operate. I can recover well. I can work out hard. I can do the things that to push myself, and knowing that what I'm eating, I'm not just breaking my body down. So like even when it came to like how I eat, kind of like my philosophy with even training kind of changed based off of understanding the efficiency and what the body is can do based off of it getting what it needs. Um, I would say just energy, having more energy that's like a straight line. Not that you're having like these peaks and valleys, but you have energy that you can depend on. You're not going to be like worn out. You have energy you can depend on. You know that when you're eating, you're literally going for fuel. So those are some of the biggest benefits I could say, generally, that I've experienced.
Okay, perfect, perfect. And then obviously this whole thing is different for each person, right? Different people come from different backgrounds, different states of, for better for worse, where they're at. What are
Right.
some of the benefits you've heard about that other people have claimed, just in general?
Well, I'll say, I mean, truthfully, I can really say we can only speak for the men. I can say a lot of men have said that they've been able to have their hair grow back. They've been able to have motivation to work out. They've seen muscle mass. They got the libido back. And then, like a big thing, a lot of men don't like to discuss, especially once we start getting to the ages that we're in, is erectile dysfunction, those things. And having to go reach for, they got Shannon Sharp, oh, get the little spark, or you got somebody getting the blue pill or something, having to reach for those things and knowing that literally the things you could be eating could literally be giving your body the responses that it needs. So just like I've heard that a lot of men have been able to reverse a lot of their illnesses or sicknesses. I've heard people being able to reverse gray hair. I've heard a lot of people saying that they've been able to get back athletic, get back able to do all the things that they used to be able to do, that they didn't have to be like, oh, I used to be. They were able to really take their lives back. So those are some of the things that I've heard from different people and different testimonies that I've even seen, different individuals. That's been some of their results, and it's always been like, wow. Um, every time I see different people, it's always amazing to me to see somebody being able to change their life through it and with it.
People changing their lives through dietary choices. There's the discussion with carnivore. We kind of talked about this before. It gets kind of heavy on the culty ideological side, for lack of a better way to say it. But we're
Mhm.
hearing about benefits people are having. You've had some benefits yourself. I've had benefits myself. Um, Again, I got over a decade on you, so I'm a decade ahead for hitting that wall of falling off in your 40s, blah blah blah,
Mhm.
and the potentiality of, again, I used to be way overweight. I came back from that, and then was healthy and everything was fine with the more plant-based approach until it wasn't. Made some changes, felt the energy boost, testosterone boost going up in my mid 40s, and I'm
Yeah.
approaching 48 now. Just to give the timeline, matters. So for the people that don't know, our guest here, Musically Fit, is 34, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I always like to put that in there. We talked about the whole age thing and where people think it's natural to be natural decline in your 30s and your
Right.
40s. I'm here to say, nah, you can bounce back. You can do a lot. And you can do a
Yeah,
lot
bro.
with
Definitely.
nutrition into your 40s, approaching 50. Obviously, you're in the mid 30s range, and it sounds like you have a similar sentiment.
Yes, sir. Definitely. I definitely agree with that. I think that you can. Where I'm standing, I think that any man, any woman can reverse diseases. They can put things in remission. They can get their life back for real. If it's about being able to go hike, being able to exercise, being able to get to a certain fitness level, being able to really enjoy whatever it is that you want to enjoy. And I think that it's harder to enjoy life where you're not fit enough to enjoy it. If we look back at all of our ancestors through the past, they were fit for the task. That, oh, they went. People don't even like to walk anymore. People hate going for walks and all of that now. We've gotten to a stage where it's about comfort. So a lot of people don't like to go out and take a hike, walk. But like, if you really want to live your ultimate life, I think that that's important. It's got to be important.
Okay, and talking about these benefits from choices, right? Making these sort of lifestyle changes first. And I want to go into this. This is a big thing right now, right? You kind of talked about
Right.
people reaching for this product, reaching for this compound, the hot new shiny thing to help get them somewhere
Hmm.
that, in theory, a better diet nutrition approach could do for them versus going for what could be considered as a shortcut. I'm
Yeah.
trying to say that in a more PC kind of way. In other
Hmm.
words, some people want to be lazy and go for the shortcut when they could just get their food situation, the lifestyle situation, right? Stop being
Right.
lazy, stop going for the conveniences. What do you think about that? Shortcuts versus let's try to just dial in this food situation. at least. Let's try that first. What do you think?
Well, I think to me, it's just like it's people have been marketed certain things. So without being too intense, people have been marketed certain things. So people think that it's something that you can just pop a pill in. Okay, I'm gonna be able to do something. Unfortunately, what ends up happening with a lot of those so-called shortcuts are effects that you don't want to have. There's always an underlying effect. And knowing that if you're eating the proper foods, your body's going to also heal. So that's the component I think that gets missed with a lot of these shortcuts. You might get a little something. Back in the day, and I guess we sound like we're old now, hydroxy cut used to be a really big thing. And I'm not trying to, blitz a brand or anything, but it used to be a big thing of something that you could just pop and you get these abs and get shredded or whatever, thermogenics, whatever. And truthfully, when you, what I'll say this, people really don't realize how the body actually can work. And sometimes they want to have, hurry up and get it, oh, I want a 3 to 6 months. And truthfully, when you're giving the body that it needs, it actually starts to respond. And when hormones start to respond properly, a lot of things can happen technically faster than you think when it comes to results and things like that. So when it comes to these shortcuts, the takeaway of the carryover is, unfortunately, when you don't have your diet dialed in and you try to grab for that first, your body doesn't also heal. So you want your body to be able to heal as well as get nutrified. And that's, unfortunately, if you try to reach for a shortcut over getting your diet dialed in, you won't get that extra benefit. So I would dare to say, try not to run for a shortcut if you can try your best to get the discipline to dial in, because people don't even realize that they are disciplined. If you get up and check your phone every day, that's a discipline. You just have to be able to put it somewhere else for your betterment. So that's what I would say about that.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And it's kind of a thing where, I on this channel, people know me. In certain instances, I try to walk this fine line between keeping a certain level of professionalism because I understand the plight people have. And at the same time,
Mhm.
I understand my history and where I've come from and battles I've had to fight. But there's a part of me that gets petty about this story. It's like, man, stop playing with me. We can't do the shortcuts before doing actual lifestyle changes. We can't be a slave to the conveniences. We're in the era now of peptides, GLP-1, TRT, especially guys my age. And I got homies of mine. I've talked to them about this kind of stuff, and they say they want to go on this thing or try this thing. And I'm like, have you done the base minimum thing of just getting it right from the real lifestyle change perspective? Just going to the first ultimate thing where the nutrition and before just nutrition first, before you even get into some kind of like workout resistance training kind of angle. But can we talk about the nutrition part first before we go reach for this other exogenous chemical compound?
Right.
What do you think about that? Because we got peptides on deck. I want to bring you back later for another stream. We're going to talk about this whole peptide craze because, whoa, the research I'm doing into
Yeah.
this super interesting. And where I'll venture as far as to say for people that I coach, people have talked about, yeah, I'm gonna go on, Retatrutide or whatever. One of my guys, one of my younger homies, I had to kind of talk him off that ledge and was like, let's just get the diet thing dialed in first.
Yeah,
Let's try these
definitely, bro.
approaches.
It's deep.
I would venture to say that carnivore diet itself, whether you stick with it forever or you think it's the ultimate, proper human diet, just trying that, even as just an elimination diet for a limited amount of time would be far better than going and getting on something that alters your hormones for a long time or potentially forever, like being sort of
Yeah.
stuck on this compound. Try this thing where you eat less of other things and more nutrient dense foods and try that for a few months and then see kind of where you're at before you go do this other thing, right? What do you think about that?
You know, it's really deep to me because I just like everybody else, I see all the commercials, the WeGo V's, the Ozempics, the whatever, and I never could have imagined if I were to look over the fitness industry and the health industry that these things like this or these shortcuts per se would be this big. It blows my mind, to be honest, to see it. And to me, it's kind of I don't want to say scary, but it's kind of scary to see that that's easy easiest route for people to take is let me take this little thing or inject something so that I can lose weight. And they don't know that, like we were talking about the health, the healing part, that their bodies are just going to lose weight. They're not going to get healthy. And I think that's the thing that they're not telling people. You're just going to lose weight. You're not going to get healthy. And everything skinny or whatever they think this image is of losing or of healthy means healthy. And everything that they think that is not an image of health. Some things people they've been able to confuse people really, really crazy, bro, when it comes to the fitness industry. And that's when I would dare to say my qualms with it, because it's almost become like McDonald's in the sense of people's brainwashing, where they have no, it's this person, that person, all these things that barrage them constantly. And I think that's a part of it that plays into people even having the focal point to get disciplined and focus on a diet. Oh, it's impossible. There's no way that food could change my life and heal me. I have to have a pill that I'm taking, have some additive or something that is giving me an enhancement or a shortcut. They really don't believe that the food that they're eating can give them the results they want, heal their body, cause the things in their body that they want to respond properly, get them even off of certain medications that they're on. It's hard for them to believe it. It's almost like they feel like you have to have this extra thing with what you're eating for it to work. A lot of people believe that.
Or dun, 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 and we talked about this and we noticed to be true. Some people want to have it both ways. They
Yeah.
want to eat the fake food. It's a phrase I say on this channel all the time. Eat fake food, build a fake body. Build a fake body, build a fake brain, have fake perception, fake experiences. Expect, because you've now earned fake interactions. Your interface with the world is fake because you're building yourself from fake food. So we're talking about processed food. We can get to the seed oils, the preservatives, all the stuff that people complain and say, well, the government here lets us eat all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, but nobody's making you pull up to that drive-through. Nobody's making you grab that package with the 50 million ingredients that you can't pronounce. Nobody's making you do that. So you could just eat single ingredient, whole food kind of things. Even if, and I'll venture to say, and this will segues us into this whole other slippery slope, that's not really, but I would even say before going to the shortcuts, the best thing people can do to approach some kind of level of health and then to the fitness movement, resistance training part, because you can't outwork a bad diet, get rid of the fake food, get off the meds that a lot of people are taking, medicine cabinets full of whatever. Stop the fake food that's making you sick, break that addiction. Even if it's carnivore diet, even if it's plant-based, start there first. Maybe you do need the so-called balanced diet. Do that, because what you're not going to do is keep eating the fake food and then think that you're going to reach for the shortcut and that's going to work. Maybe it works short term,
and that you're going to get the right, and that you're going to get the view or look of health that you really feel like you want. Because a lot of people don't realize that there are certain things that food just does with the body that nothing else does. How it builds and works with the body like nothing else. Nothing synthetic. There's nothing synthetic that can do what a proper healthy, or as certain people say, the proper human diet can do. Or eating the things that you need to eat. Like you said, whether it be you start off plant.
You're going to pop back in. Oh, it just dropped them all out. Yeah. So, I mean, some people say proper human diet. You know, there's a whole discussion. We're going to get into this nuance as well. It's a deep discussion. Some people say you should only just eat all meat. Some people went that far. Some people say no, you got to have a balanced diet. Then there's people that say no, it just got to be plants. That's a part of the diet wars thing that I'm addressing and talking about more and more. And it is a fight worth fighting, a discussion worth having for sure. But there is nuance to it. All right, let me bring him back.
I don't know what just happened there. I don't know what happened.
It just dropped out again.
Okay.
Yeah, it just is part of the game. So now I just kind of kept going with the whole segue of, some people say proper human diet on the meat side now, more animal based or strict carnivore, it got to be this versus no, we got to be plant based or vegetarian or vegan for the sake of, from like an ethical perspective. And the spectrum gets polarized and there's everything in between. There's keto potentially versus carnivore, strict carnivore. If you do eat plants, then you're not part of the actual carnivore team and blah, blah, blah. So it gets all over the place a little bit. Proper human diet versus uh, what's optimal on the whole other plant-based side.
I'm still here.
Okay. Maybe if you can just turn off the camera, maybe that saves some bandwidth and then it doesn't drop off. Charger Mopar says I started carnivore in 83. So he's 40 years deep in the game, 40 years plus. I'm not quitting. Yeah, some people are quitting carnivore. We're gonna get into that part in a second. We just wanted to build the whole framework for the discussion with my guest here. Shout out to Musically Fit. Just having some technical to give technical.
That's amazing. I wouldn't quit.
But well, what do you think about? Let's go to that. So let's go to this part. So we talked about the people opting for the shortcuts. I think we more or less agree that a lot of the issues that people are having before reaching for the shortcuts could be dealt with nutrition, diet alone. And I would argue, and let me know what you think, if for people, and I said this before, but just to reiterate, before going into some of these shortcuts, if people did say, you know what, I'm just going to eat steak and eggs for 3 months, that could be, I would venture to say that could be and would be life-changing for the vast majority of people who are feeling some kind of way about being overweight or obese or having all these kind of health issues. I think that's a better way to go than saying I'm going to go get this injectable or this magic pill or whatever. I think that's a way smarter way to go. So I'm an advocate of the whole carnivore diet situation for sure, at least from that perspective. Go that route before going and doing these other things. Maybe you could switch up and consume more super nutrient dense animal foods and cut out a lot of the fake food, the processed food, and that's probably going to get you a high percentage of where you're trying to go before you get into some kind of so-called medication or some kind of magic shot or whatever. I'm not sure if you're still there, but the camera just cut off. I'm amazed at how I've fallen under the radar for so long. How you have fallen, Charger Mopar. Fiber feeds the gut microbiome. You can't do that with strictly meat. Yeah, that's an interesting point because I've heard people talk about the microbiome thing, but at the same time, I've heard people talk about this whole gut microbiome thing as well, to where it's adaptable. We know human body is adaptable. So it begs the question of, well, what is absolutely necessary? Because the gut microbiome is there regardless of what you're eating. So it just becomes a matter of what type of gut microbes you're cultivating at a particular time. Meaning, if you eat plants, your body's going to work with that. It's going to break that down. But if you stop, it's going to just work with essentially whatever food substrate you eat the most. Your gut is going to adapt to that. Now, there's the discussion about what is optimal. Some people say you don't need the fiber. You don't necessarily need those gut microbes, or those microbes are there to break down the insoluble fiber that you just can't even digest. So that's a whole interesting discussion in and of itself. And only having this sort of open-minded approach would allow you to say, okay, I see what they're saying. If you eat these plants, then your gut changes to deal with those plants. But if you stop eating the plants, do you even need those microbes there? That's a very logical and rational argument that I've heard people make. In other words, just because you eat those plants doesn't necessarily mean you need those plants or you need those microbes in your gut. Now, I know for myself, I've been able to do carnivore diet myself and run it pretty strict for months and didn't really have any issues other than, for me, I was just too full and it was hard for me to get calories, quote unquote calories, or enough energy based on my activity level. That's pretty much the only downside I had. All right, so yeah, just keeping the conversation going. Musically Fit, I appreciate you being here, sir. I know we having some issues with the stream and whatnot, so just keeping the discussion going. I'm not sure how much of what I said you heard, and if you could kind of chime in on that. Don't we need plants for the microbiome? What do you think? Is your audio back? I can't hear you. So maybe go back out and come back again. Like go all the way out of the stream like you did before, and then just I'll bring you back in.
Still can't.
Now I can hear you, but I can't see you.
I
Or
don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you at all.
just try to turn off the camera. I can't hear you. Oh, you can't hear me. Okay, so he just went all the way out. Fiber gave me so how do we reconcile this? Some people say you need the microbiome, you need the microbes, you need the fiber, but then some people are saying fiber gave me IBS, irritable bowel colitis, diverticulitis, GERD, and other diseases. All in remission of the carnivore. So when we start making blanket statements about what the human body needs, what happens when there's people who are having these things, right? Are we supposed to just say that's all in your mind? And this goes in both directions, right? Like, so I see there's a nuanced discussion that needs to be had here because while, human bodies are human bodies, there's certain genetics, there's, people from different regions, blood types, there's some different factors in mind that I think we should, you know, entertain. All right, we got my guest back. Let me see.
Okay, I can hear you now. I don't know what happened. Some technical. I'm sure you'll probably it'll be some different. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe I'm not sure. I don't want to make it too tricky, but if you have the option, you can see it on the side of your StreamYard. If you turn the camera off, maybe that saves bandwidth and it doesn't get choppy or kick you out.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to mess it up too much, but there should be like a little camera icon or something to where I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's up at the top on my screen, but it's
Okay, so it
up
just
here on
went
the
off.
top. I don't. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. We'll
There
just
we
keep
go.
running it. We'll just keep running it.
right.
And I know we just did this kind of on the fly, so yeah, you could just leave it like that. We just did this on the fly, so we didn't get to check it out too much. But people get
No, it's
the
all
gist of
good,
it.
bro. We've had some good things that we've been able to cover. I know it's just it went out a couple times.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about this? Like, just to get into some of these nuanced discussions, we got people in the chat saying some different things, and that's why I love these discussions. I never eat fiber, and I've never been constipated. And then he says,
Yeah.
but that good bacteria in the gut only eats fiber, and the acid in meat kills them. You see, so we got different perspectives.
Yeah, different perspectives
here.
in the comments. Yeah, definitely.
Fiber gave me IBS, GERD, and other diseases, all in remission under carnivore. So, from the perspective of our person in the chat, Shinobi, is saying this one thing in favor of we need the plant fiber, but then we got Bride's Biscuit saying, well, wait a minute, this is messing me up. So, how do we reconcile that? Are we supposed to just say, no, who cares about what you're saying? You need to eat like this because it works for me.
And keep eating those foods because they're good for you.
Right.
And it's very interesting because now a lot of the things are coming out that people are realizing the effects that have on the body. Like, I don't know if you've heard of her, but Dr. Sally Norton, she talks about oxalates and the oxidative damage that a lot of vegetables cause. And a lot of people don't realize what's happening because certain animals are designed to digest those foods, and they do such a breaking down of it that they actually get what they need. So that's why it's deep to see that people are making these comments, saying these different things and the effects that they've had from these foods that we've known. That's what you're supposed to eat. Eat this, eat it. It's the healthiest thing to eat. And I can't say it any better way. Our bodies just simply aren't designed to digest those things. If you just look at the biology and even a cow's stomach, they have a whole network that it has to go through, more than one stomach even, to where they're able to actually get the benefits from that plant food. And we can see, as some of those people are saying, some of the effects that these plant foods can have. And it's not just like it's how you were, it's your genetics, it's the way that it affects most people. And most people don't even know that those things is the culprit. They'll go, not that I'm saying that a candy bar, a cookie, cake, or pie isn't, but they don't know that those some of those things are the culprit to even some of their autoimmune diseases or issues that they have.
Right. Okay. So somebody commented earlier and said something to the effect of, and I believe this to be true, plants can operate as medicines, as herbs. What do you think about that?
I truthfully think that it's crazy because I used to be on that stick. I was get your herbal tea.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, make sure you get your herbal tea, get your this and that. You know, I believe that there are certain herbs that could possibly be good for healing, and I think that there are ones that are good. But I think that it's a thing that is supposed to be like how you take a pill. You take it for what you need it, and you don't. It's not something that you constantly take every day. A herb, or that's not something that you take regularly. It's something that you take, boom, and then you move on. But when your immune system's healthy enough, and like we were talking about, eat it the proper way, you need less and less supplementation. You need less and less herbs. You need less and less. You start to need less and less additives. So I don't think that some of those things can't heal or they aren't good. But you find that you need less and less of those things when your body's getting what it needs.
Whoa. Okay, so I was on mute. Thanks, Shinobi. I think about that from the standpoint of bring it back
Sound
up.
it went out again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's just it bees like that sometimes. All right, so
No,
think
it's
about
all
this.
good.
In the days where people had to go hunt for food almost every day, every other day, you got to feed multiple people, let's say a tribe, a family, whatever. Maybe you catch an animal that, or in the way you cook it, maybe you use certain herbs to make sure that it does kill off the potentiality of parasites.
Hmm.
Maybe it helps digestion in certain ways, but herbs are added to as seasonings. Maybe it's a flavor component. Obviously, we know
Right,
salt was used as a storage mechanism because it would dehydrate the food versus it being used for taste, right? We know certain like paprika, certain things have
right,
effects on potential parasite infestations or whatever, right? So I think at a certain point, it got to a point where the taste flavor component relative to some of these plants became so baked into the thing where people just needed or believe they needed more of it than what they maybe should have. Or there's the thought
right,
process of if you go out and hunt and try to catch an animal, and also, you have certain plants that grow out of the ground, maybe their roots or whatever, and you need to feed 5 people, 10 people, 20 people. Well, there's only so much meat to go around. So let's make a stew. Let's put the meat in there. Let's cook it nose to tail, but then let's add more density to it by adding this extra plant matter. Somebody just said
hmm,
it in the chat earlier. Well, you can boil certain plants to break down the fiber. Okay, cool. So you put it all in a stew, you cook it, it neutralizes some of the plant defense chemicals, some of the oxalates, while at the same time you're getting the benefits from the nose to tail, the animal food as well. And you're
right.
able to make a bulk amount of it and feed multiple people. So that sounds pretty logical, right? I grew up, my mom's side, Louisiana, big pots of, stews and whatnot. And then it dawned on me like, oh, okay, maybe that's why they're adding in these different things, making these big gumbos and whatnot. And then you feed
Right.
a bunch of people versus saying, no, it has to be this way. No, it has to be that way from almost the religiosity kind of standpoint. What do you think?
You know, I think that nothing's wrong with flavor or adding anything, and I think that sometimes people get really dogmatic. I think that if you uh don't go overboard, it's nothing wrong with adding something to enhance a meal. I'm like any other person. I like certain things tasting good too, but I think that it can come to a place where it can get excessive, and it come to a place where it's uh you being able to enjoy something a little. It's nothing. I don't think that it's anything wrong with having something the way that it is, but just don't be careful with trying to go overboard with it. But I think that even with that, um, it's really one of those things that even though still, even when you make that broth and the water that you're getting from that whole that stew is so nutrient dense. It's so nutrient dense from the meat, so can get it. It's really a big benefit from eating a stew. So like, is if it, especially if it's cooked in bone broth, you're gonna get some real good carryover for your body.
Yeah, no, I was just kind of introducing that idea just from a logistic standpoint, making food stretch for more people, then the seasoning element relative to using plants as a medicine to counter certain potential effects of, catching an animal in the wild and how much you cook it. Do you overcook it? Is it cooked enough? Just to make sure. Obviously, we know these things have been used, and I'm saying that relative to like, like parasites or certain spices, right? That protect your gut in a certain way. All right, let me bring it back. But I think more of a newer discussion or less broad discussion are just the benefits of, and I've experienced it myself firsthand. Obviously, that's an N of one anecdotal sort of subjective experience. Reaping a lot of benefits from cutting out all other foods and just eating a bunch of meat and eggs. I've done that and thrive big time. I keep coming out. But I highly suggest everyone try that for sure. Anyone who hasn't done it, I've heard arguments on the only eat plant side for sure. I've heard more of that my whole life. Just eat plants. Oh man. Go all the way back out. Go all the way back out and then come back in. Like
Sound about, yeah.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, I'll tell him when he comes back in. What's the average age? Oh yeah, interesting discussion going on in the chat. And here's the thing, like, see, Shinobi, we've had this discussion on some of my chats before. Are you saying it from the standpoint of, are you even hearing the arguments being made by people who are approaching this are musically fit? So yeah, whenever that happens, just go all the way out and come back in, and it should refresh
Okay.
it. All right, just so you know that as a standard. So I think about this. If you guys are listening to at least kind of what I'm saying, and we're both discussing, looking at some of the arguments on both sides and seeing what merit they may all have versus saying, no, I'm just going to stick with my approach, my belief, whatever, even what works for me. I coach people on weight loss. I have to understand that what works for me as a 40-year-old man may not work for a 30-year-old guy, a 20-year-old guy. Like I have to
Right.
be more dynamic in thinking. And I would say it behooves everybody to think more broadly about it versus just saying, no, it's this way. Because then you get into this kind of
Right.
culty mindset. Shinobi says, I'm just balancing, not bashing. Well, Shinobi, it seems to be that you're more locked into your belief, your approach, more so than even hearing the other sides of this. Because I'm pretty sure, just like most people, we've heard all the benefits of a balanced diet and how we're supposed to eat most of
Right.
our lives. I've heard way more about why meat can be harmful and high cholesterol, this, that, and the third. I've heard way more of that than I've heard these benefits from if you only eat meat.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking the truth is somewhere in the middle, whatever. Let me try it. So for anybody who's told me now that I have a lot of friends that, vegan, vegetarian, plant-based, whatever. They say that's crazy that you switched up to the other side. You're a traitor. And it's like, I'm not on any team. I'm not a part of a cult. I'm not on any
Right.
team. I'm just trying something different. But then I'll ask them this question. Well, you have a lot to say about why this is bad, but have you tried it?
Right.
And they'll say, well, no. And it's like, well, how can you really talk about something?
It'll kill me because some people think it'll kill them. They're afraid that if they eat a certain way, it's going to kill them. And they don't even have any. A lot of the people a lot of it is just not doing any real research. I used to say, make a joke. Be on the right side of woke if you're going to be. Like be on the right side of woke, or like because a lot of people that get caught because like we were talking about earlier, the fitness industry is easy to get caught up because it's a lot of information out there, and a lot of people that get caught up in the wave, and before they know it, they're just it makes them fearful. Like it's even crazy to see the people that are afraid to walk into a gym today because they have anxiety to walk in there.
The discussion gets interesting, and I love it, right? Because we're talking about this now, but they're just seeing how it develops in the comments. And let me do this real quick. Shout out to my guy Falcon Black, who just dropped the 10 pounds on the super chat. I super appreciate that, my guy. Even myself and Falcon Black, we've had these kind of discussions over the years. I've been active on YouTube on this particular channel for many, many years, and I've known Falcon Black for years, one of my YouTube buddies. And we've gone through different, phases and iterations, diet and nutrition approaches. He's big into fitness, martial arts as well. He's one of the guys. He's the guy. And we've had these discussions, and I know he's had some different thought processes and pivots and approaches to this kind of stuff. And Falcon Black, I was just thinking about our chats before this stream. I'm kind of wondering where you're at now. We got to still, we way overdue for one-on-one. But again, shout out to my guy Falcon Black for the 10 on the super chat. You guys got any questions or want to support the stream? Feel free to drop a super chat. Super chats are always appreciated, of course. Hold on, let me make sure you see that. I want that to show on the screen. Falcon with the 10 pounds.
Yes, sir.
So I appreciate that. Again, I'm trying to do a nuanced approach to this. I'm more where I'm at with it is eat fake food, build a fake body, stop eating the fake food. Let's start there. Let's not do the shortcuts.
Start there before you take any shortcut.
But as far as
or you even consider it.
But you musically fit, you made a great point earlier. You said the human body is made essentially out of muscle. It's made out of this substrate. It's made out of this type of matter based on these compounds put together, muscle, bones. That's literally the structure. I gotta say, from a logical perspective, it makes sense that if you have these structural components of muscle made out of amino acid structures, that you go get proteins, amino acid structures that are more similar to what you're made out of, versus trying to extract it from a plant. Because I guarantee you, my arm, right? Where's my camera? My arm is made out of this material. It looks nothing like the stem of a plant. It looks way more like, I mean, I hate to say it, if I gotta bite into a chicken breast, the material that makes up my muscle is way more similar to that than it is from this stalk of kale or a piece of, you know what I'm saying? Just maybe that's a reductionist way to look at it, but I think that's, the simplicity of it. We don't know what the human bodies are.
True. It's way more, it's closer, and I want to eat something that I know that my body's going to be able to utilize, even over a powder, because the people get real into, they gotta have people just don't want to believe that they can eat food. They have to have a protein powder, a protein bar, some snackage, some way to do it quick, or they try to, or cheat it, so to speak. They want to, let me get a protein powder. You better eat some food. I get you want to go ahead and run around and run with your life because people are busy. You got to run. They want to have their little protein drink, but eat food. Don't be so dependent on having to have something that is not food or food that we should eat.
We talked about that convenience point earlier, and let's go into this though, because we wanted to bring this into the stream. And again, I appreciate your time. Sorry about the connection issues and whatnot. I appreciate everybody's pulling up.
It's all good.
On the whole discussion. I hope you guys are appreciating it. Again, shout out to Super Chats, Falcon Black, and whoever else Super Chats. Definitely more Super Chats, please. Makes me feel real good inside, and I feel inspired. Blah blah blah. Falcon Black said, I dropped vegetarianism. Meanwhile, Shinobi is saying, my uncle jumped off the carnivore diet just like Joe Rogan, and they're older and they need fiber. That's interesting. There's the need fiber claim. There is definitely this thing where people are jumping off carnivore diet. Meanwhile, my guy Falcon Black was a very healthy guy, said he jumped off vegetarianism. What I want to do though, see, we know these discussions. Well, let's address this one thing. Musically fit.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you holler at this because we kind of talked about this before. This comment right here that's popping up on the screen right now. AM1, seriously, gorillas have 70% of body weight muscle and they only eat plants. Musically fit, I'm gonna let you handle that one. Go ahead.
So that's a crazy thing, because a lot of people have that thing. They'll say, even for example, look at the elephant. The crazy thing about these different species of animals, a lot of people don't go out and get the education. One is this: their bodies are designed to digest those things. Their whole digestive system is made differently. Two, what a lot of people don't understand, based off of that difference, their body actually converts their plant food through the digestive tract into fat and protein. So that's actually what they're eating. So the plant matter that they eat goes through a conversion process in their body that we just aren't designed to do. So it's a beautiful, they call that a straw man. It's a beautiful straw man argument, but truthfully, when you understand how digestion works, how biology works, how we're designed as humans, how those animals are designed, that's the only way that they produce that level of muscle. That's the only way that they produce that strength, is because of how they're designed to digest that food and what it converts to in their body. vegetables don't convert to those things in our body, unfortunately, and in those animals it does. So that's how we explain that. That's how that is possible for that animal to look like that and be strong like that because of what happens to the food in the body, how the bacteria even in their body break it down, which we don't have. So that's why. So unfortunately, sir, I know that's always the go-to, the infallible argument of veganism or vegetarianism, but it's because their bodies are designed to digest the food a certain way while they get that muscular turn. Because it does that, their body's converted to fat and protein. Most people don't even know, even cows, 80% of their diet is fat and protein because that's how they convert grass. They convert it into that. So they get real big and fat, able to produce milk, produce all these things that their body can produce, give off oils, all of that. Their body can only produce those things because of what they consume. And that's what it converts into. So yeah.
Yeah,
In a
people put
nutshell, do your own research if
yeah,
you can, sir.
no, I
Yeah,
mean shit. Basically, what you said is all
Shinobi, yeah,
legit. And ultimately it breaks down to when you make these analogies and comparisons about other animals, it's like, fam, we're not a gorilla. You can talk about,
right,
genetic similarities from a chimp or a gorilla, great apes and all that. It's like, but we're not that.
right.
And
Totally different
Bryce
species.
Biscuit, Bryce Biscuit summarizes right here. Gorillas have a cecum and are hind gut fermented. There it is. Like,
Right.
uh,
Their
let
gut
me do this
ferments
real
things a
quick.
certain way that it just doesn't for us. You guys,
There it is.
yeah,
Shout out to my guy Deronimer who just dropped the phone 99 on a super chat as well. I super duper appreciate that and appreciate everybody rocking with us here. And again, shout out to my guest, Musically Fit, taking his time out to join us and
definitely
educate us.
appreciate you.
Skills and resources all day. That's something about I've talked about for years on this channel. And again, this talking about this health and fitness thing coming from my background as a videographer, a media guy. I really just want to have these open forum discussions about something that adds real value to the world at a time where people are distracted with celebrity and politics and blah blah blah. I'm like, if I'm
Yeah,
going to talk online, let's talk about something that matters. And I guarantee everybody operates one of these bodysuit things every day. So this food, nutrition, fitness discussion is the hottest thing smoking, way more than
and
all
the
this
most
other
important thing
nonsense.
we talking about, definitely.
Yes. So if we're going to do the diet war fight, I'm saying that's a worthy fight to fight.
I
And
hear you.
even with, where people decide to go plant-based, vegan, vegetarian, whatever, carnivore, keto, even within that, there's an internal war on the keto carnivore side.
Yeah.
And someone alluded to it earlier. People are leaving the carnivore diet. What do you think about that? People are leaving the carnivore diet. People are cheating on the carnivore diet. What do you think about that whole narrative?
It's really interesting to see. Because what I'm saying is that a lot of there's a lot of influencers and a lot of people now there's some main people that we've seen that are like big people, but a lot of people were doing it for some clicks. A lot of people were doing it because it was something that was popular, a popular diet, and a lot of people truthfully that are technically quitting we're not doing it as a lifestyle. They were doing it as a protocol to get to a certain result or to see if it worked. And now that they've gotten what they feel like they've gotten from it, that's why they can say that they're technically quitting. But a lot of these people that are all that in that escrow are people that were just doing it as a protocol and they were trying to see what they could get out of it, see if they could get some little longevity, see if and I'm not and I can't specifically speak for all of them, but I'm just generalizing it, see if they could get a little bit healthy so they could turn up for a couple of years and they know if I get back on a carnivore diet, I can reverse my fatty liver, I could get healthy real quick. I'm just gonna be frank with you all that is I think it's a big thing. It's a thing that they're trying to kind of almost make it bad. But some of those individuals, I would dare to say, were just doing it as a protocol to kind of like bring it home and not as a lifestyle thing. So that's why you consider they're technically quitting.
Yeah, no, excellent point. And that's something I've thought about a lot. Like, I do not like the whole sort of snobbish vegan, vegetarian, culty kind of vibes. And,
Hmm.
as somebody who, I ran these strategies, believing in some of the things of this is a healthier way to go. And it worked fine until it didn't. But I was
Yeah.
never locked in on it like, oh, I'm part of a tribe or the community and some kind
Yeah.
of
Or I gotta
ideological,
join a email list or something like that. Yeah,
or I'm
definitely.
going to be shunned by my peer group if, oh, you eat meat now and blah. I never cared about any of that because I'm just my own man and I'm not swayed
Hmm.
by opinions like that. So even when I look at the whole carnivore, keto, whatever, this whole tribalism thing is crazy to me when it's
Yeah,
like,
it
wait,
is interesting to
is
see,
this
bro, in it.
well, even within the realm of carnivore, and I say this because I coach people on carnivore, keto, using those as a protocol, as a tool. And I never bought into the idea that you have to do this and do this forever. So the idea of
Yes.
someone saying, I'm going to use it for 3 months, 6 years, and then I'm going to go back to whatever because I've hit the health target that I feel I want. I'm going to reintroduce some plant foods. And if it works, it works. Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a thing where now it's like, oh, you're leaving carnivore. So it's like you turned on us.
You betrayed us because now you like to have and truthfully, I'll be honest with you. Even some of the people that argue like, oh, carnivore, if you're drinking coffee, if you're whatever, that's not fully carnivore anyway. So it's like people try to be, super dogmatic and religious about it. And I think that it can be dangerous when you're like that about anything. So like, for example, a lot of people allege that once you get on the carnivore diet, and even if you're doing it as a protocol, your digestive system heals. So if your digestive system heals, does that or does that not mean you can enjoy something? You can eat something. You can have something that now your body can actually eliminate it as waste, and not it might attach to something or cause an issue. Can that now? I might argue that I would say that you should still eat those things as like you have a candy bar every now and then, and have some kind of discipline structure so that you can maintain your health for a long time. But if things are getting better, your health is supposed to improve, you should be able to enjoy something. If we're really going to be real, you should be able to have something, even have if you enjoy your friends or family and have a drink, that shouldn't be something that kills you. If you have discipline, you shouldn't have to worry about, know that you don't have to throw the whole bottle down or eat 100 candy bars in a day because you're trying to prove a point. But you should be able to enjoy your life if you get healthy.
I mean, and that's an interesting point, right? I think about it in terms of you go to the gas station to fill your car up, your vehicle, you get fuel. The car doesn't
Yeah.
care about how it tastes or any of that. It's all about pure
Right.
practicality, pure functionality. It's fuel and structure. That's how essentially how our food works. We got the fat, we got the protein,
Right.
we got the carbs. Two energy sources, and one of those energy sources is structural. That's the fat, and then obviously we have the protein that's fat for muscle, bones, and makes up your organs. Pretty straightforward. Then it becomes a matter of what type of food substrate we're using for the energy sources, or more so for the structure. Now you can
Right.
say, obviously, then there's the other element where we have fake food, we have recreational drugs masquerading as food when it's really just a drug, right? We're eating that purely
Right.
for the taste bud pleasure, dopamine hit, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Fair is fair. If you acknowledge that and you understand you're not going to let that destroy you. Now, if somebody says, I'm going to only eat meat for 6 months because I feel like something I was eating, whether it was the fake processed food or too much glyphosate in the wheat or whatever, um, some kind of processed foods I've been eating for years, that's me speaking for myself. I'm going to just use carnivore as an elimination diet, only eat the cleanest meat sources I can find, let it heal
Right.
myself because I'm literally eating structural components, build myself back. Then maybe I can throw in some broccoli now. Maybe I can throw in some rice now. Maybe I can throw in something because my body's not reacting to it. What do you think?
Right. My body's now healthy enough to where I can actually use what I need to use from it and get rid of the waste material
Right. Like my
and go through the
digestion
digestive
functions
process
now.
as best as I can, because some of those vegetables were developed just so we could eat them, because in their previous state we couldn't even eat it. It would be a poison or it would kill us instantly and touch our mouths. They had to be, agricultural revolution, as people we this gets discussed a lot in the carnivore diet, had to happen in order for there to be edible vegetables. The agricultural revolution had to happen in order for there to be, because if it hadn't, there wouldn't be no edible vegetables and everybody be carnivore. The dogmatic people would prefer that, but yeah,
Yeah, it's a tricky game, right? Because we get into, we're in the
yeah,
social media era, YouTube, Instagrams, buy my course, join my community, buy my book.
yeah,
And something I've learned being a journalistic, video centric media kind of guy, when you call things down the middle, it's not as sexy and provocative, and it's harder to sell a position of nuance and kind of
Yeah.
open-mindedness. It's way easier to sell a position and keep people in a more tribal. It has to be one way or another. Now, with that stated, on my end, you can speak to this from a coaching perspective. Where we're at now, where obesity rates, overweight obesity numbers are going through the roof, people are reaching for these shortcuts, as we talked about before. I highly
Yeah.
advise anybody facing those kind of issues to go to an elimination carnivore keto style diet for sure. So just with that caveat, I'm an advocate of doing that for sure. It could be a long-term thing, short-term. It's going to be different for
Yeah.
different people. So there's
But
that.
you'll be shocked to see what would happen if you give it a
We're-
chance.
For sure. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. What I don't like is that when people get real culty and tribal about it for the purposes of saying, I need to keep people boxed into a more tribalism mentality for the purposes of my clicks and views. That's where it gets sketchy. I'm an authoritative carnivore, and and I get it. There's, sensationalism and entertainment value to
Right.
a carnivore advocate barking at some other person that's like, you're not strict enough carnivore. How are you
Right.
leaving carnivore? It's just gets
Right.
interesting to the point of like, don't ruin and waste something that can really help people and make it be.
Right.
Don't be like them, like them
Right.
meaning
Don't make it be this thing that makes people be like, I don't want to be around those people. They're weird, whatever. Yeah. So it's a very interesting climate out there, even with the carnivore community. I see that there's a big divide in it. Even with the people that eat raw versus the people that don't. Oh, you're not that, but you're not diehard, or the people that do this, or like we were talking about the coffee thing, because technically if you're drinking coffee, that's not carnivore, people that's animal based, people that are, whatever they add, whatever. Oh, it's a lot of people that, and truthfully, I would dare to argue. I even see the divide in the carnivore community when you see these panels. I try to keep, pay attention to certain things. Certain people don't mess with certain ones or certain doctors or certain whatever, and they have to have their own thing. And there's somebody that's got a real big thing, and I'm not gonna say no names. Some people that got a real big thing, and they have a real big, and all these people that and is I can see the divide. There's a divide. There's different people, so you really have to do your education, get your own understanding, and try to get with somebody like, for example, yourself, that can kind of give some guidance. Because I feel like if that doesn't happen, it's very easy to go down these rabbit holes. You might find somebody that's super dogmatic and think that you're not doing the carnivore diet or whatever right. If you don't do it exactly the way that they say, everything they say, you feel like if you make one mistake, everything's, you failed them, failed yourself.
right, you let down the community because
Right.
you ate this thing or you cheated on it or you left it or whatever. Like, it's not about, hey,
You
your
you you had
personal.
you happen to not know what some fries or something was cooked in, and you ate them. Oh, you had some Cetos. You better, and trying to avoid certain things as much as possible. Truthfully, when you know the truth about them, but you had a candy bar, you had a sip of something, whatever. People it's intense. There's some people that are very intense when it comes to making sure that you are strict in the lifestyle and that you don't have no, nothing. Yeah.
Right. This is great. This worked out even better than I thought. Because again, this is our first time talking
Yeah.
uh, at all, and obviously, uh, just at all in general. So I didn't know your take on this. So this worked out even better than I thought. And for all I knew, you could have been one of the types that's like, oh wait, you ain't fully carnivore. Oh, you weak. I don't know, but it is dope to have this discussion. That's the point. Is people who can acknowledge the benefits of it for sure, but then also say,
Right.
there's a lot of nuance to it, and we don't need to be. And again, I'm not trying to speak for you, but we don't need to be that crazy about it. Let's acknowledge the benefits and draw more people to it. I want to see more people healthy because my real fight is with people, corporations, industries that are trying to sell people poison foods and the shortcuts
Bro, it's
that are
deep.
so.
It's something, bro. It's
That's
it's
my
it's
real
scary.
fight. It works
Yeah.
in my best interest to have more people who are healthy and sharp and focused because I'm an entrepreneur. I like to work with people who are building businesses. That's what I do as a videographer. I help people build their business. And I also found that it's a good business thing to help people, coaching them on getting fit and weight loss. So again, I'm an entrepreneur. It's in my best interest on both sides of my lines of business for people to be more healthy. And I see that again, industries, offers, opportunities, options, things that are people are opting into that they can easily change and make choices, as you alluded to earlier. If they do the better choice, they can be more healthy and thrive more in life and have less complaints about the world. And
Yeah,
the world is like a reflection of our individual and collective choices. But then people
yeah.
complain all day about the political scene or whatever. And it's like, fam, you're the one who's supporting that, voting for these people, paying into their system, but then yet you're complaining about it. But you won't fix your body and your food choices. Like, what are we talking about?
And just like people feel, it's and that's deep that you say that, because I feel like people feel like they're a slave to it. They go outside and feel like they don't have a choice, but then they feel like they can argue about somebody over their choice. It's really, it's a enigma when it comes to how
It's
people how people's minds work when they don't realize that they can take control of it. They can literally take control of it and say, I don't have to and especially people that know that they possibly could lose some weight, have some medical issues. There's certain things that maybe when you go in the grocery store, you got to take a break off of. Maybe when you get your immune system healed, to get your digestive system healed, you can enjoy something, but you need to right now get disciplined so that you can get healthy, so you can get well. Now, I will argue there's certain things that we just didn't evolve to eat as humans. Like there's no cookie plant. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with having cookies, I'm not saying nothing wrong with having candy bars, nothing wrong with having something, but we have to be realistic. More often than not, you should be eating things that are benefiting your body. You can enjoy things, but if it's too often, you know that you're gonna have some issues. You know that your health, your weight, and things might not be manageable or where you really desire it to be, if there's certain things that you can't get rid of, you just got to have all the time. That's just the truth of it.
You good on time, sir? Because I'm loving the convo. I appreciate everybody pulling up. You good on time? Because I want to go holler at some of these comments and get your thoughts on these.
Yeah, we could run some of the comments.
Okay. Let me see, because we got some good things. I appreciate the people rocking with us and the engagement in here, because you guys are raising some good points and some good discussions slash arguments in the comments, and some of the stuff we can easily shoot down. We're not trying to be combative, but some of this stuff is like, fam, stop it. We're way too well versed in this stuff, and it's easy to have certain discussions when you can look at all the sides involved and you've
Yeah.
done the work and done the research, not from a position of I'm trying to defend my position more than it's like,
Or I'm trying to convert something, convert
right.
somebody, or be dogmatic about it. Yeah.
All right, let me see. There was some comments in here, some ones that stood out. Let's see. Okay, we'll holler at this one. I tried going plant-based for 7 months in 93. It made me so sick I had to go back to carnivore. And he said he was carnivore since 83, I think. So he's
That's
been at it
amazing.
for
That's
40 years.
incredible. That's
Yeah,
incredible.
right. I mean, he's a carnivore veteran, but went back to the plants. Interesting. There's some nuance, even potentially to that discussion. Because you get into the pesticide glyphosate era
Yeah.
and what might be happening with that from the plant side, and geez. All right,
And
I
just
went.
how plants produce their own, every plant produces its own toxin.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, that's kind of hard to avoid when you actually do the research. And I think that there are things that plants that taste good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not like some vegetable fanatic, but there are some plants that do taste good if you cook it right. And it's just there's certain things that um, plants just produce. The so the thing is that some plants that they say that just didn't evolve, they didn't evolve, so to speak, to run away. So they have to have a toxin that they develop, and that's just the miseducation that we were given, to not understand that plants do produce a toxin. Every plant does. Your favorite fern in your house produces a toxin that keeps it from being eaten by something else, whether it be an insect, uh, 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 a disease, whatever, because certain diseases can attack certain plants. So it's designed to to survive. So it has to do that to survive, produce a toxin. All the how your house plants produce a toxin, and a lot of those plants that are even our house plants, if we ate it, it'd kill us. We can't eat it. We can't just eat certain plants. So that's really big with that. So like people have to just be careful. And I will say that before you go into any even elimination diet, be a vegan, vegetarian, carnivore, get your education and understand the what the takeaway is going to be. What are the consequences versus the benefits? What are they going to
And
be?
truly be open-minded about it when you do the
Right.
research, not do the research to try to bolster the position you already have. That's I think a key
Right.
thing.
Have an open mind about it. Exactly.
Here's an interesting comment. Lyric Starseed, I hope you're still in here. I know you posted this a while ago, but here's one. So you eliminate bad food, get healthy, then reintroduce the same food you eliminated. No wonder all those diseases come back stronger. So I guess this is from the perspective of if you go carnivore elimination diet style, you heal, and then some people are leaving carnivore, going back to bringing plants back or whatever. Now, maybe they're bringing back the plant foods. Maybe it is the defense chemicals, certain histamine reactions, but maybe they're also bringing back also some of the processed food too. So that's kind of where it gets nuanced. But what do you think about the point that Lyric Starseed made here?
I think I agree with you as well with that. I think it does get very nuanced, but I'll say for this, I think that one of the biggest things is when people have that moment where they're disciplined. So, like for example, we talked about the martial arts side. So, like that was I don't know anybody's else background, but the background I grew up in was dogmatic. It was hard. This. So this is the thing. So a lot of times, like for example, we brought up earlier the whole military thing. When people have that thing where I used to be strong in things, it'll be a thing to where you'll get healthy, you'll get fit, everything. You'll start feeling yourself. You'll say, I can enjoy this thing. I can eat it. Or I can enjoy some more of it. I'm feeling good. And then you just get all the way out of whack. You see it happen all the time. Sometimes people, they don't want to really acknowledge how miserable what they calling or what they call their discipline is. So once they have a chance to be free, it's hard to fall off because they already had a bad relationship with the discipline. So I think having a good relationship with it and developing a good relationship even with the word discipline, because even growing up, a lot of us hear that word and they think, you're gonna get hard, something's gonna be bad, or something bad's happening to you if discipline is the component. We think we hear word discipline and oh man, I gotta get my stuff together. It's literally like we don't have a healthy relationship even with the word of discipline. So I think that's what happens to a lot of people. They don't want to really acknowledge that they were torturous. They were hard on themselves. I gotta do this. And then once they had a chance to breathe, which technically that's what they'll be, they fall all the way off. That's why we see it all the time. They get unhealthy or they get undisciplined, and then their ego is what's holding them up at that point.
Interesting. The ego part is huge. Wow. I mean, that's a whole discussion in and of itself. Let me bring this one up right here. We kind of talked about this before, but for anyone who wasn't in here earlier, and I think this is one we can keep getting into, do a whole separate stream on this, do a whole panel on this. Dr. Doug Lo-Fi says, what's your guys' thoughts on temporary use of GLP-1 meds temporarily?
That's a slippery slope. I would say that if somebody was extremely morbidly obese, I'll just jump in and dive in and say it. If somebody was extremely morbidly obese, I would say if you want to take your little quick shortcut so we can ensure that you can have a easier assimilation processes when it comes to getting your diet together. But I would say that if you had to use it as an option, get off of it as fast as you can. Temporary is king if you're going to even try it. Be very conscientious and be very aware of any side effects that you could endure. And if you're going to take it, get off of it quick and get in alignment with your diet. That's what I would say.
All right, I holler at that. Dr. Doug Lo-Fi, I appreciate that comment. I hope you're still in here. I know you dropped that comment a little while ago. The way I see it, and again, coaching people on this stuff, and then my thoughts about sort of the authoritative bodies of pharmaceutical companies, industry, medical industry, known corrupt organizations, just tapping into their products, inject you with this thing, this shortcuts that might cut you short. I have to say,
Yeah.
it's a big no-go for me as far as advising people. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't advise my mom. I wouldn't advise people I love. So I'm not going to advise, clients. There's just no way that I would do
Yeah.
it. It's a dice roll. There's no long-term safety study. These things were used for type 2 diabetes, something that can also be remedied just with lifestyle change and nutrition. So if it's a matter of a weight loss drug, well, weight loss will muscle mass, bone density, along with body fat. Or do we want to recompose our body, change the composition of our body, lose fat, build
Yeah.
muscle,
And
build
that's so
strength, build
crazy because
resilience?
people have said that they've lost muscle, they've had lost bone density. And the crazy thing is, piggybacking off you saying that, the using the drug is you don't know what weight you're losing because you're losing bone, muscle, and everything, and then the scale looks different, and now you have osteoporosis or you have some other problem, and your body's just it's depleting your body. So anything that makes your bones weak is off top depleting your body of nutrients. Anything that makes your muscles weak or atrophy is depleting your body of nutrients. So if that's what those drugs are doing, I'm just speaking for, I was just speaking kind of from the doctor's perspective because I know a doctor's he's going to subscribe something to you. And if you're going to trust the doctor and you're going to take the pill, you need to get off of it ASAP. Unfortunately, I don't know who else is going to see this, but there's some people that are going to have a self-esteem issue that are going to think that they need to do that for a real quick thing, and it's so sad because we have people are barraged by the commercials and the advertisements, and you literally have to have a blinder on if you're somebody that doesn't have any control over, or you're trying to reach a goal, or you're at a certain weight that you feel like it's impossible. Because like we talked about that earlier, people feel like it's impossible that you can do it through your diet. They really feel like it's impossible and don't have 3 months, 6 months, a year to wait to see their body change. They want it quick.
Speed, convenience, again, shortcuts that might cut you short. No long-term safety studies. No long-term
Yeah.
safety study, but I'm trying to make this thing happen quick, and I'm trying to do it before doing the lifestyle changes where I actually earn the knowledge, the experience of what it's like to make these changes, to build this
So much
discipline, to
better.
build these habits, and then I just do it for the rest of my life versus let me take this chemical thing for, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, where it's going to slow down my digestion using some kind of compound synthesized from Gila monster venom. And we're going to slow this down, and it mimics this glucagon like peptide that my body already produces if I
Yeah.
consume the right foods that make it kick in. In other words, well, before you go take this glucagon like peptide, why not just eat more fat and meat that's going to give you more satiety anyway, and then you're just going to eat less naturally? Carnivore
Right.
diet.
And
Like,
your
why
body
not
will
just do
have
that?
things. Right. And your body will have some fuel to feed on.
Structural components in the form of essential fatty acids and essential amino acids, and it's going to give you that satiety effect.
Correct.
That is known to happen. There's just no way around that. So that's the
Yeah.
physics of how a body works. So why do it with this compound? And the price on those things used to be crazy. I guess they made them cheaper now because
Some
it's
synthetic.
competition. Why do that when you could just literally eat more animal fat and meat and get the exact same effect without the side effects?
Because they
Now
don't
it might
believe.
take longer to do, but in three
Because
months, if somebody's eating whatever and they go, carnivore elimination diet style, 3 months, 6 months, your life's going to change forever. I've coached people on it. I've helped people lose
yeah,
crazy
bro.
weight.
And it's amazing. And like the mass, the group think, the mass world, they don't believe that the food, your food can, and I say this loosely, I'm saying it, for lack of a better term, your food can heal you. They don't believe it, bro. They don't believe that if you get yourself eating certain things or the proper things you need to eat, your body will respond the way that it's designed. Like you're designed to do that. Like how we talked about earlier, gorillas are designed a certain way. Whatever. You are designed to do that. If you give your body the right components, it will do what it's supposed to do. No, it's not an AI. No, it's not ChatGPT. It will do what it's designed to do. Your body is designed, and people, You know, and one of the big components I think that cause people to get in this, thing. A lot of people have a spiritual component that they try to add to it. Oh, what were our purpose and where did you? Okay, whatever you want to have, but you're designed a particular way as a human animal, for lack of a better term. Your body is designed that if you give it the proper tools, it will not fail you. Believe it. People are afraid to believe that. It will not fail you if you give it the proper tools. It will not. Call it God, science, whatever you want to call it.
Right. Okay. So perfect segue to this. Shinobi comes with this comment, and I'm gonna let you holler at this. So cows were created to eat these toxins from plants. Take it away.
Yes, they were. Their bodies have special bacteria that breaks it down, unlike we do. If you call it God, I know people don't. It's hard for people because they don't want to accept that they just are designed that way. Okay, if this is unexplainable, the God of the gaps, call it God. God designed them that way to where their bodies will digest the bacteria. And every animal has a certain bacteria, like us, the human animal. We have a certain bacteria, a certain pH in our body, all of those things that are designed to break down certain components a certain way. So, yes, they're designed to do that. And when they do, they convert that into the protein that we eat. And that's the animal, I guess, our human species evolved that found that was big enough that gave us the nutrients. Okay, we're killing that. They eat the plants. Saint Lion King, the circle of life. That's what it is. They eat the plants. We become the plants. The protein is all those things. It's a regenerative process. That's what's happening when that cow eats that grass. Is regenerative. That becomes the strong muscle, the protein. So then we eat them, and it all happens. It's regenerative process. So yes, they are designed to do that. That's how they are designed. Every animal has a particular bacteria that helps them to digest the things that they can eat in their diet. So, like a cow can't go eat a human's diet. It's just not how it works. A cow can't go eat other cows. Now, there's some animals that are, able to eat, for cyto cannibalistically, but they're designed to be able to be on that level. Like scavengers, we see stuff like chickens, seagulls, and stuff. They're designed. Their gut microbiome is vast enough to where they can eat on the spectrum like that. They can eat a fuller spectrum, eat plant foods, eat meat, all of that. They have terms for those like omnivores, carnivore, whatever. But they're designed that way. So, yeah, in a nutshell, that's what that would be in a nutshell.
Pretty straightforward. I knew you would kill it on that. That was like, let me just have you holler at that. I don't even need to add more to that because that pretty much summarizes it right there. Yes, they're designed for it. They have the gut formulation, multiple stomachs and chambers where they ferment the stuff and extract and mix their bacteria. The bacteria processes it, and then they build it into the proper amino acids and whatnot they need to build their organs and structure with. And no, they're not carnivore. So obviously, a cow can't eat the meat of another animal and do the exact same thing. The digestion simply doesn't work that way. Now,
Yeah.
who designed it that way, created it that way, and whole different story. Another
Right.
comment. You talked earlier about the idea of advertisement and whatnot. Falcon Black makes a point about Serena Williams in a Super Bowl GLP ad. Jeez.
Yeah, that's deep. And I don't, I'm gonna, tiptoe on that, but I will say, and not tiptoe as in avoid it, but tiptoe in, my full viewpoint on it. I will say that there is a demographic of individuals that they knew would be very, very easily influenced by a figurehead like that to be able to get more finances from that demographic for that particular drug. Because the thing about these drugs that, not trying to be jumping off no deep end, they want everybody to get it. They want everybody to get the side effects. They want everybody to choose that over actually believing and knowing that if you eat the foods that you're supposed to eat, your body will do. I can't emphasize it enough. It will do what it's designed to do. Like we were saying, you could call it God or whatever, but if you give your body the things it needs, that's what it's. But they want people to be convinced. So they just couldn't get Michael Jordan. That's why it's Serena Williams. That's what I want to tell y'all. They just couldn't get Michael Jordan. They couldn't get LeBron, and they needed somebody that's at a certain stage of age that struggled with weight in their lifetime. We know Serena Williams always been think she was a healthy thing even when she played tennis, but that's a whole other rabbit hole. but they wanted to, if they just couldn't get Michael Jordan, just so you guys know, so I can be frank. And this is why it's to influence you.
Yeah,
That's all I can say.
I'm a big
I want
media
to,
guy.
do one of those.
I'm a big media guy. I understand marketing. I study it from the standpoint of propaganda, like Edward
Yes, sir.
Bernays propaganda, literal social engineering. So yes, I see exactly what you're saying, and I got to commend you on your tiptoe around that and keeping it PC. And I mean, we could go there, but let's not.
Yes,
So far,
sir.
this has
Yes,
been
most
pretty chill.
definitely.
But I like how you did that. But yeah, the exact demographic that they know are going to spend, let's say, have certain psychological propensities to fall into such a shortcut.
Influence.
And if
Mm-hmm.
influence, and if you market it the right way, then a certain demographic is going to latch onto that and feel empowered by it.
And then the money's made, and then the money is made. That's all they need. That's why they skip. That's why they send side effects super fast. Every medication. That's why they just want to make sure that once if the advertisement hits, and all these things go through a whole processes. They test it on a group and all of that. If a certain advertisement hits, they're gonna be like, "Yep, that's all we need." They might as well just get a vacuum and suck their pockets dry. They said that's all we need. We need the right components to get people to spend that money, or the
Wait,
insurance companies or whoever.
we're talking about Serena and GLP-1, and then Shinobi, and I appreciate this, comes with the super chat. Let me hide this one and bring this one up.
Okay.
Let me see. This is an interesting point right here that Shinobi makes. Is we were just talking about Serena and the whole marketing thing. Is Shinobi is here's what we've been talking about. People got to be locked in on their standpoint and argue everything from one standpoint. But I'm gonna go in on this one because Shinobi again shoots himself in the foot. Thanks, Falcon Black. That was a layup. Serena is a vegan with muscles. Explain that one. Well, wait a minute. Serena is a vegan, one of the most athletic people, greatest tennis players ever. Vegan with muscles. Well, why did she get on the GLP-1s then?
Right.
Thank you for the super chat, the $4.99. But yeah, like, wait a minute. So, first of all, there's and nobody ever said you can't be vegan and have muscles. I never said that. I don't think Musically Fit ever said that. So there's that point. But yeah, I don't think Falcon. I'm pretty sure Falcon didn't say that either, because Falcon knows you can have muscle, build muscle, and be vegan. But there's the whole idea of just even getting into bioavailability versus defense compounds, running the risk more of getting into pesticides and whatnot from more plant. In other words, if somebody said, look, do you want to eat all of these pounds of plant foods versus pounds of meat? Weigh one of those out. If you had to choose, I'm going to choose the animal foods. There's just no way around it.
Right. I mean, if you just had to, and that's just even natural, like, they've even done the studies. You put it in front of a baby, that's going to be the telltale sign. We're designed a certain way. It's hard to avoid. And people, and I think that what's happened in this society is that they've tried to have some intellectual reasoning for it, or some spiritual connotation about it. Oh, it has to be, it just is what it is. Our species of animal has to do these things. Birds have to do certain things. Lions have to do certain. It's just different. It's different for us. Now, like for example, a lion. We're going to bring that up because people love to do that. The lion thing. They're 100% raw carnivore. That. We're humans. Okay, so we're that's possible or not possible for us, or it could be something that's closer to. So, for example, I'll say this even a little bit, and I don't want to go too far on it, but every species that evolved to be a carnivore has eyes that point forward. Every species that evolved to be able to hunt has eyes that point forward. So that, I wish that was the nail in the coffin for some people, as they say. But every species that has evolved to hunt or to be more carnivorous have eyes that look forward. Your lion, your tiger, your cat, you. Eyes that look forward are animals that have that diet. So like for example, a lot of those look for a gorilla. They're they eat meat too. They don't just they have canines. That's why we evolve and develop those things. So they're more omnivorous. So they eat more than just plants. But yeah.
Okay, so we got Shinobi in here, and this is dope. Again, thanks to Shinobi for the 4.99 super chat. But and Shinobi makes this interesting comment here, kind of refuting, I guess, both of what we said, myself and Music Can
Okay.
Fit. Guy on the panel says humans cannot build off plants, but hold on. He also says we are mainly muscles. You said, I think he's referring to me. Plants don't have muscles. Your words. I think he's saying that about me because I said something. He used this sort of analogy. My body is made out of muscle
Right.
tissue that is synthesized, literally muscle protein synthesis from protein, aka amino acid structures, right? What
Right.
I'm
It
saying
needs it.
is, from the standpoint of food substrates that I or one ingests, food substrates in the form of amino acid compounds. If I get that from an animal, that those compounds are much more readily available and more similarly synthesized and processed from an
Right.
animal that has structures that are more similar to my body makeup. In other words, there's more accessibility, bioavailability from an
Right.
animal that has bone,
Absorption.
muscle, sinew, tendons, right? Um, those essential proteins, essential amino acids are more readily available because they're literally building muscle tissue structures. So when I eat that muscle tissue structure, I'm obviously breaking down something that functioned in a similar locomotive muscle recruitment kind of way. It's literally a
Right.
similar structure versus a plant that is a stationary life form that grows roots in the ground. It's a whole different type of genetic structure.
Yeah.
Now,
It has nothing that even has to have that type of uh.
the locomotion, the literal like
Right.
muscle, um, I
Torque. None of
mean,
those things.
exactly. It doesn't have the same concept of flexing and contraction with muscles. Like it's not even close. So it makes
Right.
perfect sense that if you consume again a tissue food substrate that's similarly what your body's going to build it onto you in a similar functional way, it's obviously just makes way more sense. I mean, it's not even
Yeah.
up for debate.
Yeah, and I know it sounds like gibberish to some people to understand. You should eat muscle if you're made of it. Literally, you're made of it. The thing that you're made of is obviously going to be able to benefit and build your body. There's no we didn't and just thinking about how we even evolved to as humans. There's no we didn't evolve to. There's no liquid that's supposed to give it to us. There's no it's animal foods that do it that give us what our body needs to be able to produce the type of performance that we can and that we can give as this species, the things that we're capable of, the things that we need to be eating to be able to do the things that we can do have to be things that we need. So and just being and since our bodies are designed and our digestive system are closer to carnivorous animals, one stomach, every carnivorous animal has one stomach. Most animals that are not primarily carnivorous have a longer digestive system, longer intestines, or more than one stomach. That should be, I mean, and people, just those things. I think that when people know those basic things, some of those things, like what even saying the animals that evolved to look forward, certain things like that, that should bring it home. But like I said, we've been saying, sometimes it's hard for people to understand that your food can do it. It can give you every benefit that any pill you could pop, any quick fix, any shortcut that you think you could take. It can do it.
Got to
It's
start with
kind
the
of like
food.
having faith, bro. Kind of because like people, there's been so much that's happened in this fitness in the fitness industry and the health world that people are confused, bro. Unfortunately, they are definitely they're lost.
Right. And
And
which is exactly
I say that, I don't say that like religiously, but unfortunately, that's where we are, with it in the world when it comes to like a general understanding of what it takes to just be healthy.
so much distraction, so much ego,
Yeah,
so much tribalism, pulling people in different directions. And I'm again, that's why I decided to put more energy into this and say let's have these discussions. Let's do it in a more nuanced kind of way. Let's try to call it down the middle as much as possible, while at the same time
yeah,
let's go the better path. And I'm willing to hear ideas on what is the better path. I'm somebody who's went the
yeah,
plant-based route. I've went to the keto route. I've went to the carnivore route. I've done all these different things, and I see benefits and I understand the nuance of that. Everybody's different. But again, these discussions, these conversations, I think are very valuable. So super dope to have my guy Musically Fit here.
Definitely a
Definitely go
pleasure.
check him out. I've been dropping his handle on Instagram. And I forgot to ask you about that, bro. Are you active on YouTube?
Well, bro, I'm currently not right now. My goal is to, before this year is out, to kind of start to get my podcast together. I have one, but I ended up losing my page. I got hacked and I lost everything, so I had to start over. So I'm gonna come back, revamp, and try to. So right now, currently, no. Once I get everything together, I have my YouTube page together, but I don't have anything on there that's like substantial, no content. So like, once I get that together, I'll be doing my show, and then there'll be certain little clips and stuff that I'll be posting. But primarily, once I get my YouTube together, it'll be my podcast, and then there'll be like stuff that on my social media that I have that probably will direct to that. But currently, it's just my social media right now. But in the coming months, I will be working on having my podcast and starting my podcast, and it'll be on my YouTube, and I'll be to tell you guys
And
where to go.
we're just gonna close out because we're just gonna try to do an hour. Went to 2 hours. I think it's a dope discussion. Again, I appreciate everybody rocking with us. If you can try to turn the camera back on as we close out, it won't matter. I don't think as far as the bandwidth, but just so we kind of tie it together where people can see you.
Okay, you said
If
do
it
what
works,
with the camera?
try to turn the camera back on. If you can hit that button, if that's what did it, or I don't know, did you turn the camera off?
No, I think it's there it go. The camera's hold on, let me see.
Because it's showing it's off right now. I can't see it. I don't think they can see
Oh,
it
you
either.
can't see me?
But I think that was helping the bandwidth. But just to kind of tie the show back
Can you
together.
see me now?
Nah, it's just showing the little avatar thing. So that's fine. I think it's maybe glitching out, but I don't want to confuse it too much. I'm just trying
Can you see me now
to.
or no?
Nah, I can't. I'm just trying to give the context to the people. They understand why I'm talking to him with the black stream. We're having some connection issues. There it is, right there. There it is.
Cool.
Okay, just so they can place the face with the who they've been listening to
Yes, sir.
and who I'm
Definitely.
talking
It's a
to, so we can
pleasure.
see it. All right, this Musically Fit. I just dropped his Instagram. Go check him out. He's really showing how you can thrive and be really fit and active. He got dope content on Instagram stuff.
And I gotta get active,
And
guys. Excuse me. I gotta get more active. I'll be there.
then yeah, I'm curious to see what you're gonna do with the podcast. What will be sort of the topic area of focus with the podcast?
Well, it's gonna be open forum.
Okay.
But I'm definitely gonna talk on some different things that like things we discussed, diet, health, different things that's going on with it. But I'm gonna bring it all home to just focusing on certain things. But it'll be open though. It'll be open forum.
Okay, dope. And I definitely want to have you back.
So we're gonna talk about health, lifestyle, all types of things on there.
Okay, and just a little bit more context. Musically fit. Obviously a fit, healthy guy, mid-30s. Just to add some context here. Also musically fit because he is a vocalist as well. Tell him just real briefly some of your highlights on the music side career.
Well, I've done some different little things. I also, like I was telling him earlier when we were offline, I was able to go on American Idol. It was a great experience. That's a whole other story. Hopefully, I'll be able to tell soon. And I went to school for music, but I've always been a singer. Always had musicians in my family, and that's been a great passion of my life over the years. So that's kind of like that in background in a nutshell.
Okay. Anything else you want to shout out? Again, I got your Instagram link in the chat. Everybody go check him out for sure. I appreciate you having you here and you pulling up on
Well, I
him. But
really
yeah,
appreciate you as well.
Go ahead and shout anything else out.
I want to say thank y'all all for coming on. I really appreciate my guy for even inviting me on, taking the time out, and just look forward to the podcast soon. Follow me on my social media. Love all you guys, and I hope that you guys can hear this and have some type of idea of getting a hold of your health and getting better for you, because you only got one chance, and that's and you gotta live it like you want. Live it to your best.
I appreciate you, bro. I'm about to hit this outro, and I appreciate everybody who pulled up, all the super chats, all that. We're gonna keep this discussion going. Definitely, here on this channel, AM1 Media, and my other channel, AM1 Lifestyle. We really keeping the health, fitness, lifestyle discussion going. People are rocking with me for 2 hours here out of your day. I appreciate that. Hope you got some gems from this and some different perspectives and whatnot. But definitely gonna be back with more on the health and fitness side of things. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. We'll leave it there for now.